Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Come on in. Come on in. Get in here and have a seat. We're going to get started in just less than a minute. How's that? We're going to get out, and I want to just make sure that people know where we're at, what we're doing, that we're getting ready to go. And there we go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Chainbreakers. Good morning, Laura. Glad you're here. It is Wednesday, January the 29th, 2020, and this is going to be a fantastic day because that's the way I choose for my day to be. Hi, I'm Brad Smith. I am your host for Chainbreakers 365 Live and the creator of hashtag Uplift and Rise. I want to welcome you in here today. Good morning, Leanne. I'm glad you're in here this morning. And I know there's several others. Do me a favor. Drop a word in, say hi to me, say hi to the other people here, and I'll say hi to you. Whether it's now live or whether it's in replay later, as others can testify, I do loop back around. I do try and find those comments, and I make sure to speak out to everybody. Good morning, Mitch. Glad you're here this morning. Glad you've joined us. So today, here's what I want to do. I want to take a look at two subjects, and we're going to see that they're actually tied into four in total, but we're going to take a look at confidence and courage. What are confidence and courage, and how do I become more confident? How do I become more courageous? Connie, good morning. Janine, good morning. Nat, good morning. Glad you're here. Janice, thanks for jumping in. Susan, glad you're here this morning. Confidence and courage, you're going to find, are very tightly and closely related to a positive mindset, a positive lifestyle. And it will be the opposite, mind you what I'm saying, it will be the opposite of fear. So here's what I want to take a good, solid look at. Courage, mind you, is not acting in the absent, in despite of fear. Courage is not acting in a vacuum of fear. Courage is acting despite fear. Courage is not a matter of being fearless. It is looking fear in the face and taking action anyway. Okay? Because in a lot of cases, when we're talking about having courage, what we're talking about is being able to look fear in the face, know that fear is the acronym false evidence appearing real. It is false evidence appearing real. Don't get me wrong. There is a difference of being fearful and knowing when something is dangerous. I am not going to jump off of a 100-foot cliff. That's dangerous. Okay? But walking up to near the edge of it in being afraid of falling over, that's fear. Now, I used to be in sales in commercial roofing. I've been on lots and lots and lots of very, very, very tall buildings. There was only one building that I ever came down off of. And it wasn't overly tall. It was 5 stories. But there was no edge on the edge of this building. You got out to the edge of the roof and it just dropped off. Now, it was a 5-story building. There was no wall, right? It just dropped off the edge. That's not what made me fearful. Frequently, I've been on buildings higher than that, been on the edge, and it didn't bother me. What bothered me that day is the wind and the gusts were very high, and it gave me the feeling that I was being pushed off, and I came down. That was understanding danger. That was not being fearless or being in lack of courage. Here's what I want to tell you, and this is confidence. Confidence is not walking into a room with your nose in the air thinking that you're better than everybody else in the room. That is not confidence. That's haughtiness, right? That's being arrogant. That's being egotistical. Confidence is walking into a room and not caring about comparing yourself to anybody else. Courage is not being in a situation, and this is where it ties closely to positivity. Courage is not going into a situation and thinking that negative things won't happen, or that you are going to do this despite what might happen. Courage and positive mindset, here's how closely they're tied, is going into a situation and saying, even if the worst happens, I'm going to be okay. Even if the worst happens, and sometimes bad things happen, don't get me wrong, sometimes bad things occur, but if the worst happens, I'll be okay despite that. That's positivity, and that's courage. That's walking into it going, it doesn't matter if this goes well or this doesn't. I'm going to go at it, because if I don't, I won't get it anyhow. And if I do, I might. But if I go after it and I am not successful, I'll be okay anyway. I'll be okay despite it. So confidence, courage, positivity are all very closely tied together. Is it any wonder I talk about wanting to keep a positive mindset? Is it any wonder I want to talk about keeping an attitude of gratitude, an air of positivity in your life? It is a matter of being confident. It's a matter of being courageous. It's a matter of looking life in the face and knowing that you're going to be okay anyway. There is only one thing that will happen, right? That you might succeed. You just might succeed. So what are you waiting for? Because even if you don't, you're not going to be any worse off than what you are now. You're not going to be any worse off with your family, with your friends. Is anybody really going to think of you any differently? You tried. Guess what? They're not even getting off the couch. So even if there are people that would speak badly of you, you're still doing and trying more than they did. You're still doing and trying more than 99.9% of everybody around you. That's like getting up and getting off the couch and going to work out, getting up and going off the couch and going for a walk, going for a run, trying out for a marathon. You are still better than 99% of the other people out there who aren't even walking out the door. You are still better. You are better than, and I'm not arrogant, I'm not egotistical, I'm not being haughty. You are better than because you're trying. Here's the nice part of this whole thing, and it's something I want you to get to realize. If you don't like the way your life is right now, if you don't like what's going on in your life, if you don't like the way your life is turning out, here's the good news. You can call a meeting with the people in charge at any time. They're always available. Because who am I talking about? It's you, and it's the big man upstairs. You can call a meeting of all parties and have a meeting together and have a nice talk about it. Sometimes we don't get because we don't ask. We think we do. We think it's what we want and he should just know. But have we really taken the time to ask? You think about it for a second. Go back to being a child. Remember that toy that you really wanted? Maybe it was a Barbie doll. Maybe it was a train. Maybe it was a G.I. Joe. I'm dating myself. Whatever it was. Maybe it was I can't remember. Cabbage Patch Kid. How's that? That was my children's age. Maybe it was a Cabbage Patch Kid. Maybe it was a what were those little bears? The little Thai bears. Anyhow, think about those toys that you really wanted as a child. Maybe you really wanted it, but was it ever coming into your life? Were you ever going to receive it without asking your parents for it? You could want it, and maybe you think they should know because you talk about it a lot, But did you ever ask your parents for it? That's the only time, usually, right? Probably one of the few times you ever got it is because you asked your parents. So think about it for a second. You don't receive because you don't ask. Take time to sit and ask God or Father. And if you really are talking about you don't like the way your life is turning out, you want something different, you don't like the way things are right now, who has more control to take you out of that situation and make your life different than the person you're staring at when you look in the mirror? That person is always available for a meeting, right? Maybe it's in the car, maybe it's while you're sitting on the toilet, right? Take time to take that meeting and start talking about what it is you want to do. I came to a realization today, once in like almost a year ago. I started really taking a look in my life at what was changing and where I needed to change, because God told me I was playing small. And I started taking a lot of looks at different areas of my life, and I've had one that I kept pressing against, going, what can really change? What is standing in my way of really pushing through to the next level? And I'm talking about in church. I'm talking about my spiritual life. And I came to a realization today that I remembered back when I was a very new Christian. I was a baby Christian and walked into a very charismatic church, one that formed when I was a teenager. And I thought of it when I walked in there the first time, going in with a lack of confidence because I was a baby Christian, looking around going, this was the church when I was a teenager that everybody in town thought that's where all the weirdos went to church. And I got to looking around going, who here is all that group of weirdos? And thinking how many others were looking at me wondering if I was one of those weirdos. When I realized I was letting my humanness, I was letting my ego, I was letting all that get in my way. I joined a new church, a little less than a year ago. And I've been getting much more actively involved. But yet I knew that there was still something that was holding me back, and I didn't know what it was. And I realized it was, once again, my humanness. I was letting my humanness stand in the way instead of just being me, being who I knew as a Christian, being confident in my Christian walk and not worrying about what anybody thought anymore. Why am I even bothering to bring it up? Because, my friends, that's not only courage, it's confidence. It's when you can walk into a room and not worry about what anybody thinks anymore, because it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, because you're going to be okay anyway. When you can do that, that's when you walk in with a confident attitude. That's when you have courage. It is not being fearless. It is acting in despite of fear. It is walking in with a confidence, knowing it doesn't matter. I'm going to be okay anyway. My friends, who are you? In what areas of your life are you lacking courage? Are you lacking confidence? You owe it as a debt to God. God gave you the skill. God gave you the ability. He gave you the intellect. He gave this to you as a gift. Your gift back to him is using it. As if you are a concert pianist and you never went out to play. It is your responsibility to offer up those gifts given to you. It is your responsibility. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family. You owe it to your friends. You owe it to God. And here's another lesson, my friends. You owe it to anybody else that could be watching you, that they might need your example as a breakthrough for them. Who loses if you don't win. My friends, if you like today's videos, do me a favor, hit that share button and share this out. Share this message out. Get others to join them in. If this was also important to you, you can tag your friends in it. Get them to come in and watch. We are here, Chainbreakers 365 live every single Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. You can catch us live or you can catch us on replay. You can go in and watch my YouTube channel at Chainbreakers 365, or you can go at chainbreakers365.com. But join this community. Join and be part of it and be here for Chainbreakers 365. Be somebody memorable and make today memorable, my friends. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a fantastic day. Bye now.